This is the Agorist Next podcast. I'm Brandon. I've got my great co-host Dag with me. How you doing, Dag?
Hey, Brandon. I'm doing pretty great, man. Before we introduce our guest tonight, guys, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Presearch. Check them out over presearch.org. They're a really great search engine. No spying, no censorship, and you earn crypto just by using it. We really believe in their project, and they believe in ours. They are helping us continue to bring you awesome content. Of course, not just the podcast here, but also the great articles and all the other really cool stuff over at Agorist Nexus. So be sure to check out Presearch.
Yeah, and I've been using Presearch lately, and I never want to go back to Google, really. I mean, and if you need to go to a different search engine, it's on Presearch. So like from Presearch, you can go to DuckDuckGo, you can go to Google, which I don't recommend. But yeah, there's all kinds of different search engines within Presearch. So shout out to them. So without further ado, we've got a guest that I'm always excited to have on. This is the second time having him on, the great Chris Rogers with Earthbound Martian. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great. And actually, I would like to give another shout out to Presearch because I've been using it for almost a year now. So before they actually became an actual Google Chrome search engine, I was using them. And now you just go up to your URL, type in like you normally would, and it goes to Presearch. It's fantastic.
Right? Yeah. You just make them the default, and exactly. Mm-hmm. So, and we did not pay Chris to say that. So.
They did not. I assure you, I did not.
Tell us all the exciting new things with Earthbound Martian. Every time I go to your site, I think I see something new. I'm really glad to see that you still sell those. I really like those rockets, that SpaceX Starship replicas that you make.
Oh, man, that is so exciting, man. Hopefully tomorrow we should see them go try a 12.5 kilometer flight of that big Starship rocket. I am so excited for that. So obviously I like to wrap my toys around the excitement and hope that it brings to everybody. And for me, spaceflight is part of that. So yeah, that's why I have those, all the SpaceX stuff. I think it's very, very super exciting. Beyond that, it's been a year, I guess, since last Christmas we were talking about this. And the idea of being a toy maker that is also heavily involved in the anarchy and agorist community. And it's been going really, really well, I think, for a guy who is just trying on his own to start a business. I mean, everybody knows how hard that is. But, I think we've gotten a lot of great new product. We made a lot of great connections, and that's what I'm so excited about. As Earthbound Martian, we've finally, I think, found our direction, and it's my wife and myself mainly, and my daughter helps out along with her boyfriend. But it's our direction is I think we're kind of going to go with that whole FAO Schwartz meets Spencers of Hollywood aspect. We're not really embracing the large corporations, though. If you go to like the FAO Schwartz, there's very glamour, which it's their brand thing. That's how it is. But we're going to be more about a toy company going back to the roots. We want to inspire hope, fun. Toys should be fun. Novelty should be funny and interesting. We should embrace the makers out there, all the people who are actually got all the creative ideas and can go out. Nowadays, anybody can buy a laser or a 3D printer. So we embrace that. We let them create their own items. We'll sell them for them. And I'm not trying to be everything to everybody. I'll let everybody else come up to me and say, okay, I have this thing. Can you sell it? And I'll sell it. And that's the idea. Let's empower the little people and make them not so feel so little. That's the idea.
Yeah, that's great, man. I thought, speaking of funny, I think you've got like toilet paper ornaments that I couldn't stop laughing about. And
the 2020 collection.
That was so great. That was a gift from a friend. But we were like, okay, we're totally going to sell these. They are so amazing. It's like a toilet paper Christmas tree. And my favorite actually is the gas mask. It's like a full-on face gas mask with a Santa hat, which is great. And it's so much fun. And of course, we added also our picture frame ornaments. You have to have some classical ornaments, even with the cheesy, funny 2020 ornaments. There's a lot of them out there. I guess I have my style. There are these fuck 2020 ornaments that go around in a little fractal thing that look like a snowflake. And they're cute. I've seen so many people putting them up there on Etsy and even on eBay. It's like, okay, that's overdone. And besides, I'm not the vulgarity, although I'm not no prude by any stretch of the imagination, just didn't fit our brand. But the toilet paper and the masks and the gas masks, that was totally funny.
Yeah, the naughty list, and it's Santa pointing to toilet paper. So
yeah, the naughty list was hilarious. Yes,
you're on the shit list, literally. So it seems like you're expanding and upgrading. I mean, can you go into whatever you want to go into?
Well, sure, yeah. Okay, so part of growing as a small business, I've rapidly discovering, is that you very quickly run out of room. You grow, and then you realize you're packed in with a bunch of crap. I'm literally looking out at my office and piles of wood scrap and piles of supplies and piles of finished product that need to be packaged up. It's insane. And doing that, and of course, I still work a 40-hour, and I work with a charity group, which we'll get into, I guess, later. But it's a huge balancing act. So one of the things we just started on is building a new workshop. And I guess every toy maker needs to have a workshop. And the fact that, because of the fact that I don't work upstairs anymore, I'm down in my downstairs office, and I'm getting a whole lot of exercise. I'm beginning to look a little more like Santa Claus. So maybe a workshop is best. So we're going to have that done. And anybody who wants to follow our progress, I'm posting constant progress reports on the Earthbound Martian Facebook page, and I'm trying to get the MeWe and the Twitter pages updated as well. It's a lot to manage social media by myself right now. But ultimately, what we'll have is a really nice, large workshop where we can build these novelties and toys and ensure that our quality's up there. And that's then the hardest thing when you get in a small space, working in a garage, working in a bedroom, that you start ending up running into quality issues with paint and stuff like that. But another thing we're trying to do is to expand to outside of just us. We just added a great guy who goes by Jordy's Rocketry, and he has a couple of 3D printed rocket kits, and these actually fly. So it's a Gemini Atlas rocket kit from the early 60s, and also a SpaceX Starship rocket kit. These are incomplete rocket kits, so he's got the 3D printed parts, and you can buy off-the-shelf components to finish them. That's where we're starting. We're eventually going to provide the whole kit, like a completed rocket, so you can fly them. And that's super exciting to me. But he's also got a helmet. If anybody who's seen the recent Crew 1 and before that, the Demo 2 missions where they flew astronauts up to the ISS, and they had the whole Starship or SpaceX astronaut outfits with the helmets. This guy, Jordy's Rocketry, actually builds the helmets. And so we actually sell those on our site now, too. And I have one here that I've got to finish. And I'll soon actually be putting out a commercial with a full-on SpaceX outfit with the helmet on and everything like that. In addition, we have some jewelry makers coming on board. And we are doing commission work for another jewelry maker, providing her with some these delightful little coffins. And she puts her rings. She has these massive rings that are beautiful. Puts them inside of there. They're all flocked and everything. So we've got a lot of expansion in different areas. So it's not just us doing all the work. We actually can promote some of these other vendors and creators out there, which is kind of part of our mission as a company, is to bring all of the work from all of these small makers out there and let them show and shine under our umbrella brand of Earthbound Martian, and then featuring them as designers.
That's cool, man. It's really nice seeing something like a little bit different. Like it's easy like when you think of like toys, it's like, brightly colored plastic, Milton Bradley from Walmart, junk, right? So it seems like what you're doing is definitely a different, like it's a whole different thing, What is? Tell me about like maybe like the market for something like this, for like more unique, more handmade stuff. Like who's your customer?
I'll be honest with you. There's actually a lot of that still being worked out. I went through a lot of this and looking through, okay, who buys like novelties like we make, and who buys custom toys? Well, I mean, not even custom toys. Who buys toys that are not crap? And I did find that there's a lot of people who buy toys, light on that crap, through really expensive websites. So, no, I mean, I started looking into it and I found out that there's a bunch of like the Pacific Dutch and the Quaker type stuff where they make a lot of kind of, I hesitate. They're really nice toys. They're high quality toys, but they're really expensive toys for what they actually are. And now that I know how they're all made, I know how to actually create the things that they're making. I realize they're making a 500% markup on everything they're selling because their target audience is the people who are living in these giant McMansions and rolling around in their really, really expensive cars because they know they can. That's not what we're really focusing on. So I looked at that. I said, okay, we can target those audiences. We could totally exploit those audiences. But do we really want to be that kind of company? And that's not really what we're going for. We're trying to really aim towards, obviously, we want to be sustainable as ourselves, right? And we want to inspire in a lot of the STEM aspects of things and things like that. So we look at things from the aspect of, well, let me give you an example. Last night, my daughter's boyfriend was looking at some of our shadow boxes that we've just produced for Christmas, where we have these mountains in the background and we have like a cabin in the front, or we have like the deer in the front. They're separated by some standoffs that are in the shape of pine trees. Put a little light in there, it gives a little flickering shadow effect. And he explained to me that when he was growing up in Honduras, they had toys like that where they would put them up and they would shine a flashlight against them. And you would get these giant projections. And he pulled his phone out and he showed me. And I think the one that struck me the most was one I just built for, it was a SpaceX themed one. So it's got in the front, the launch pad that they launched the crew missions from. It has, that's on the right, and there's on the left, there's one of the boosters landing, and there's the starship in the center, nice and big, flying around. And in the back, there's a moon. And he put that up there and he shone the light through it. And it was the moon large, like 8 feet against our ceiling, and starship flying. I was like, wow, that's kind of where we need to be going. We need to be taking these things that inspire awe and let's make toys out of them. So puzzle boxes, we have this amazing labyrinth. I don't know if you've seen that on the site. It's a 3D labyrinth. It's got 24 faces. And we're just trying to make these things that just like people can look at them and say, wow, that's amazing. I want to experience this. And again, the whole point is always hope and joy and fun. So that's kind of where we're going. We want to find audiences that like that sort of thing. Everybody should, right? we target fandoms. So for the first few months of next year, we actually have a couple of different conventions, assuming that they actually happen, that we'll be going to. That will be about like AllCon's our biggest one that we're doing. It's Dallas AllCon, and that's going to be everything. We have a pool toy that is a TARDIS pool toy. You pull it, and it actually spins around like the TARDIS flying through the space-time. And we have a lot of Godzilla stuff. We have an amazing Godzilla our artwork type thing. So that's kind of where we're targeting right now. And then going forward, we want to get into more of the mechanics, make movable toys. I try to stay away from anything that just outright looks laser cut rather. I try to stay away from everything that looks outright. They threw this on a 3D printer and pulled it out. I don't want our toys to look lazy. I want our toys to look like we put something into it. And the same with our novelties. I want our pictures, our wall hangings, we have coasters that we do. I want everything that we make to look like we put some thought into it, that we actually put some effort into it, and then we didn't just whip it out in 20 minutes on a laser engraver and put it in a box and send it to you.
Yeah, and I definitely think it all looks like that. Very well crafted looking merchandise for sure. Go ahead, Dag. Sorry, I probably cut you off.
Oh, all good. Yeah, I agree with Brandon. It is all really nice looking. But you can definitely see with just stuff like like how popular like Etsy and everything like that is. Like people, I really feel like people are sort of maybe there's still plenty of rampant cheap commercialism out there, but I really feel like maybe after the last couple of decades of it being so pronounced and obvious, I think that maybe people are kind of looking, they want something more handmade. And now with the internet getting to be how it is, it's easy to connect people with customers where, before it's like, what are you going to do? Go set up at a flea market, with your wares, you're not really going to get too far with that. So it's really cool that we have that opportunity. And yeah, it does seem like some people really are, looking for something a little bit better.
Yeah, it's funny. We actually did a flea market thing a few years back. My wife we had a previous company called Tiger Wolf Designs, and it was all about my wife's work as a painter. We would do ceramic stuff, and we would fire it. She would paint it, things like that. She's a fantastic painter, and she's still the one who does most of the painting, most of the detail painting for our company. But one of the biggest problems we had back then is people would come in and say, "Oh, well, this $300 castle that you built that's entirely out of ceramic and weighs 100 pounds and was meticulously hand painted. Oh, I can get that at Walmart." No, you fucking can't. Get away. So no, there was a lot of that. That's just the flea market mentality. It's terrible. I hate it. I think you're right. It has improved, but I have my own opinions about Etsy as well. So, but again, I think we're improving, and you're right that there is a kind of a culture shift. People are really wanting to lean towards getting the stuff from the makers rather than getting the stuff from some factory in China that pops out bright primary color plastic things like you said earlier. Yeah. One of the things I was actually, I'm loving this because I've got a lot of friends who are looking and seeing what we're doing, and they're offering suggestions. And it's great because I am actually imaginarily challenged in some cases. So I miss things that are right in front of my face. And so like one of my friends popped up and said, "Do you think maybe you could make custom action figures for like personalized action figures?" So somebody could send you a picture and say, "Can you make me an action figure?" I was like, I don't know, maybe. And I looked it up, and it's actually not that hard. So obviously that would be, plastic and rubber and all that jazz. But I got a guy right up the road. Runs his own business doing supplies from molding and sculpting. And that's all he does. It's Brick in the Yard. If anybody's interested in really great supplies for that, Brick in the Yard is the place to go. They're right up the road. And it's like, okay, I could actually sculpt people's faces out of clay. It's not that hard, and then make custom action figures. So that's something. It was like yesterday she popped that up and was like, okay, I can look at that. I can see that happening. So there's a lot of different directions to go. And can you imagine the kind of happiness and joy that you could see on somebody's face when you hand them an action figure? And on Facebook and other places lately, there's been this thing where if somebody's making a custom action figure, what are your two props? It's almost serendipity. You can ask somebody, what are the two props you want to give for this character, and just go from there.
Yeah, for sure. So you use a laser cutter. That's super cool. We have a guy at the farmer's market I attend who does a lot of stuff with a CNC machine and some different wooden things. Neat, knick-knacky stuff, or maybe partially useful things. What do you think, like CNC versus like a laser cutter? Or are they just totally different things? Like, why do you like use a laser cutter? And before you answer, I just want to say that the coasters, the SpaceX coasters, are really nice and really intricate. And I didn't realize that you could do stuff like that with wood with a laser cutter. I thought that it would like burn it. Am I just thinking about that incorrectly, or?
Okay. The thing about
sorry, I do that. I ask like five questions.
No, it's fine. I think it's a great question. I have to formulate my answer to be so. So one of the things that I personally like to do is I like to take everything and kind of flip it on its end. So like the coffins that I'm doing for my friend, the jewelry maker, and I'll get back to the coasters, but the coffins that I'm making, she does these, I make these things out of like flat pieces of wood that I cut out the shapes of, and then I stack them so that they end up looking like actual coffins that were built out of planks. And a lot of people, when they're dealing with lasers, they're thinking very two-dimensionally. And I kind of keep going back to the whole Star Trek Wrath of Khan thing, where they're in the nebula, yada, yada, yada. It's like he's thinking two-dimensionally. You think three-dimensionally, well, you're just talking about layers. So you build these layers up, and you can do all kinds of things. So like with the coffin, with the coaster thing, you saw that it has the especially the holder The holder's cut out of 1/4-inch wood. They may have the holes that were cut into it. And I just throw in some dowel rods, and then the extra thing at the top. And then, of course, we're cutting the veins through to kind of absorb the liquid, because the coaster has to absorb the liquid. That's the whole point. And that was actually inspired by the whole living hinge thing. Living hinges are a great aspect of coasters and CNC printers or CNC engravers, so that you can take a flat object and bend it. It's a kind of an art form more than anything else. But so yeah, it's really just looking at it. Now, where you transfer from lasers to CNC is that CNC can do a lot of the depth engraving that you can't do with a laser. Some software can let you use your laser machine and do what's called depth maps. So if you want to go super, super deep to like carve a 3D thing, you can, like, if your software is capable of doing it, it can go really high power in one section and then ramp the power back as it's moving left and right. So it could do a multi-layer engraving. The machines that I have don't have that capability. You have to like really upgrade into the multi-$1,000 machines to really get that. But with a CNC machine, you can actually do that just kind of out of the box. My first step into this whole world, I bought a kit from, and I can't remember the name. I'd have to look it up. Not going to waste time right on that right now. But it was a kit for building your own CNC machine. Most of the parts were 3D printed, and then you had to like source certain things like stainless steel pipes and things like that locally, which I have a company nearby that does that. So I was able to put together this thing, and I built it out. I put it on a big 4x8 table so I could do big things. And then I very rapidly realized I had no idea what I was doing. So I tried to do an engraving, and it kept dropping the Dremel router right in the middle of the engraving. So I had to back up a little bit and figure out, okay, maybe there's a better route. So I still have that kit. I'll go back to doing CNC stuff now that I know a little bit more about what's going on with CNC and G-code and all of that. But the advantage with CNC, you don't burn your stuff. I mean, unless you have a Dell bit, you're not going to burn your product. Laser burns quite often, actually, unless you have really good airflow. So you can do really elaborate carvings. You can do some really amazing signs. And you can actually build, especially if you end up with a 3D CNC, which is a lot more money, you can actually do some statuary. You can actually carve a statue, design it in the machine, carve it out of wood. It's amazing. But then, of course, you're going to be up in the range of having to pay for the machine. So you're paying $300 or $400 for that, so, per unit, right? So it's a difference. I think it's more of a growing curve and learning how the technology works, and then figuring out where you want to go with it.
Yeah, the CNCs are really neat. We got one. I think it was one of those kits you're talking about. We got one for the shop I work at one point, and yeah, we just could not get the technical, the computer end of it. We just couldn't quite get it to work right. We just never really pursued it. But I know people who have really good luck with them. Like I said, there's a guy at our farmer's market, and he does a lot of like rubber band guns. He made a rubber band Gatling gun out of like CNC cut parts. Definitely really neat.
Absolutely. I actually had a rubber band gun that I was developing for a while, but then things kind of shifted. It's still sitting on the shelf, but I'm really interested in doing a lot of rubber band powered stuff because I grew up with that. I went to a few flea markets and artist markets. That was a thing back in Austin. They had these artist markets every month, but it was great. We could pick up a rubber band powered airplane, rubber band powered gun. Obviously, there was plenty of those, and I grew up with Gatlin rubber band guns growing up. Those all over the place. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to really get into that. I saw this amazing advertisement for a rubber band powered laser cut semi that I was like, if they're not charging $100 for that, they don't know what they're doing. It was 150, so whatever. It was insane. There's a lot of things you can really do. And of course, I like the whole idea of a pull toy. I grew up with pull toys. So you pull them back, you let go, and they go do their thing. And of course, I always blank on this name. The one where you drop a marble somewhere and it rolls down, it hits something, and then it does something else, and it does something else, and it's like a chain of events.
Mousetrap.
Yeah, like a mousetrap.
Rube Goldberg.
Thank you. That's it. Yes. So I would love to actually do things like that. I try to avoid. I try to avoid making toys that people have to do a whole lot of assembly on their own, because two reasons. One is that's something you have to support. If it doesn't work, they give you a call. They're complaining and angry because their kids in the other room screaming. That also, where's the joy? And you get a box, you have to put it together, and it doesn't work. So I just try to, if I have to do some assembly required, it should be very little assembly required. Open the box, get to play. That's the whole idea.
Yeah, I guess I got a couple questions. I want to get into shipping, but I also wanted to get into the whole 2020 snafu. How's 2020 treated, business for you?
Okay, well, as far as shipping, we do free shipping. And I actually paid, I was spent 3 days agonizing over this, doing all the numbers and everything. And I realized that people just expect free shipping. It's been imposed upon us by people like Amazon and Walmart, et cetera, et cetera. So people, when they go online, they want to see free shipping. Now, what they don't care about is if you have increased the price of your products by $3 to cover the shipping. So full disclosure, yes, I increased the price of my products by $3 to $5 to cover the shipping. And generally, I still take a little bit of a hit on the shipping, but that's not a big deal. I keep all of that balanced, and nobody really needs to worry about all they need to know is that when I go onto my website, they look at it and say, okay, this is a $15 product. That's what they're going to get. I also don't mess around with the things like, local taxes and things like that. That's a pain in the ass for everybody. I'm not trying to be the government's agent and charge taxes against you for whatever. I don't care where you live. You want to buy a toy for me, that's fine, or a sign or whatever. I'm going to say the sign or toys like $25, $45, whatever it is. That's it. That's what you pay. I'll take care of the rest of them on my side. So that's from that aspect of it. And then from, let's see, we're talking about the 2020 thing. Well, 2020 has been amazing. Everybody's been complaining. 2020 has been hard. Yeah, obviously 2020 has been a bizarre year. I think this has been the year that has accidentally been convenient for me. I've always been working from home for 20 years now. I've been fortunate enough to be in various companies that accepted the fact that I could work remotely. So on and off here and there, but I'm already used to it. So 40 hour, the one that I actually pays for everything right now, is we just adopted what we were already doing, which was working remotely. So that was fortunate, and I know a lot of people didn't get that easy transition, which is unfortunate for them. And I really try to reach out to people who are struggling in that aspect and help them whenever I can. But obviously, there was obviously an election year, and I was fortunate enough to be asked to be involved in the campaign for Vermin Supreme, which was a joy. Honestly, that was amazing. I have grown so much as a person just being involved in that, because I don't actually get into politics. I'm in the same boat as a lot of your viewers and listeners. I rather be one-on-one, kind of doing my own thing, helping people out directly. I don't want to get into the mix. However, I saw the kind of approach that Vermin was doing and his team was doing, which was all about saying, hey, you know what? We want the government to back off. We want people to get out of here. And if we have to go through the mainstream channels to do it, that's what we're going to do. So I was part of that for a while. And obviously, when that finished, Vermin was not selected as to be the representative for the Libertarian Party this year. Where's the pity? That would have been hilarious. You can imagine him on stage with Trump, and we probably would have found a way to make that happen, honestly. So, but as it turns out, we used that, we leveraged that towards becoming the Vermin Supreme Institute, which is focused, among other things, on uplifting the disenfranchised, the disempowered, and the wow, I should know the mission statement by now. Wow. We help people. We among bringing in a political action towards things such as political initiatives and such. We actually go out into the field, into the ground. We bring supplies and food to people. We try to uplift people who are doing things such as visiting kids in the hospital. who are suffering from maladies of various sorts, including cancer. We help people who are bringing supplies to the homeless. We are actually have an initiative going on right now that we are trying to get really ramped up, which is to bring showers, a shower trailer, to people who are living on the streets so they can take a shower, get a fresh change of clothes, et cetera, like that. We're working for partners on that aspect as well. So beyond Earthbound Martian, we've actually had a really great year over here trying to just coordinate our charity efforts and coordinate our direct action and mutualism efforts.
That's really awesome. Doing that while you're also working, regular 40-hour job and, run another business and everything. That's got to take a lot of work, man. So, good job.
Thank you. It is a lot. It really is a lot. I actually had to back off from a few things, but I think I've narrowed it down to those three things: Earthbound Martian and Urban Supreme Institute, and obviously the 40-hour job. So I think if I could focus on those things, I can actually start making headway in the directions I would like to go.
There's something that we talked about in the last episode that I wanted to bring up and see where you were at on it. But if my memory serves me well, I think you were in the middle of writing a book last time. Is that right?
I was actually. I got that out to the beta readers, had everybody review it, and there was some really good advice on there. And then I had to table it because, well, how everything went this year. But because normally I was doing my writing on every Friday, I was like dedicated to that. I would go to karaoke, I'd write, and all of that. And that stopped, like hard stopped. But I'll be starting that back up again probably in the spring. I actually have a really good idea where I'm going with that. It's a science fiction book. It is based around liberty themes. Let's go on that. It's similar to a lot of the Heinlein stuff. It's very libertarian and anarchist, and I've, as a result of my the beta reader feedback of okay, so this book is in 3 acts, and I have to completely erase the first act because it's pointless. Such is the way of writing. Sometimes you have to kill your darlings. So I'll be getting back to that in spring, I think. Oh, actually, there's another book. I forgot about this. So years ago, I wrote a children's book, and because of the contacts that I have made through Earthbound Martian, I've actually found an illustrator, finally, who can actually illustrate this children's book. So hopefully that will be coming out in springtime as well.
Great. Yeah, so I'm guessing if somebody orders for Christmas now that they would have plenty of time to get that before then?
UPS and FedEx and USPS willing. Yeah, right now we're still in good shape. I think I could probably take orders all the way up to the 19th and still get them there by Christmas. So we got 2 weeks. 2 weeks left and people can order, or 2 weeks as of tonight.
Great. Was there anything else you wanted to cover, Dag?
Yeah, I guess one thing, it looks like on your webpage you accept crypto. Is that accurate?
I believe I did actually add that add-in on purpose. Yeah. So the Shopify is an amazing platform and not advertising per se. Nobody's paying me for this, but they have all these add-ins, and one of the add-ins was the ability to accept crypto on that site. And as I found that and added it in a heartbeat. It's a solid vendor for that, solid processor for that. I can't remember because I'm having to reboot my browser right now, but I remember walking through it. It's like, okay, yeah, I accept all of the more common cryptos there. And now it's back up, so let me go double check that. It's been a while since anybody asked me about it, and nobody pays it yet. So
yeah, we're real big on that over here.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, anytime somebody has an option on their an e-commerce site or whatever, that's really good. We really have to start making it more usable.
Absolutely.
Or whatnot.
Yeah, totally.
So
Coinbase, yeah, I totally use Coinbase. That's what it was.
Okay.
And Coinbase has lots of options. So Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. Yes, and I absolutely have no problems at all receiving any of those. So just send me all your Bitcoin. You don't have to buy anything on it.
Yeah, just send it.
Just all of it.
Will do.
Well, that's great that 2020 has been a good year for you, man. We've it's been kind of a common theme here with a lot of our guests recently, and I mean myself included. 2020 has ended up being. Obviously, I don't want to you know, I mean, obviously a lot of people have had a hard time of it. So, you know, I don't want to, disparage that at all. But like, but yeah, man, I mean, my business has done well. And then, I mean, just a lot of it just, it's been kind of easy with all this craziness going on to just be like, you know what, I'm good with my decision to step out of regular society as much as possible, and try to work on these alternatives, because I mean, man, it's, we might not be able to go to the grocery store without a certain certificate here soon. So it's, it's definitely been crazy, but again, it's just really motivated us to work on these better systems. And I'm really glad to hear that you are taking some stuff in your own hands with the Vermin Supreme Institute and your aid for the homeless and everything. That's really great. We love to hear anytime somebody just takes initiative and just fucking does it, man. So just why, we need to vote for this or that to get stuff done. It's like, no, man, just do it. There's people out there who just do it and make people's lives better. And I mean, so it's just great to hear.
Absolutely. Oh, also, I know somebody who might be doing like, novelty vaccination cards.
Of course, novelty.
Yeah, I look very forward to that. Yeah.
Same. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on, Chris. Was there anything else you wanted to make sure that you got covered?
No, I think we covered it. Guys, it's always a pleasure. So I appreciate you having me on, and you guys have a great show. So thank you for bringing me up. Yeah,
thank you. I'm going to feature Earthbound Martian for a little while because I just want to promote you. I love what you're doing. I love that you're able to grow and collaborate with other people in an Agorist way. And yeah, man, I really can't be a bigger supporter. So yeah.
Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, with that said, I'll finish up with the quote, unless you're ready, Dag.
No, man, let's do it.
I'd rather be poor but free instead of lavishly enslaved. There you go. Agorist Nexus out.